Hello everyone, Sableye here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are here with another VGC guide talking about Orthworm. If you have missed out on any of the past ones, feel free to check out the playlist linked above. I will be putting all of these guides in that playlist, so feel free to check it out at will. Of course, we're going to jump straight into Orthworm here. Now, what exactly is Orthworm? Orthworm is basically Game Freak saying, what if we had an Onyx, but we made it a Steel type? And the stats basically mimic that. It has the massive defense stat, and then it has subpar or somewhat average stats among the rest of the things. Probably not amazing stat distribution, but the 145 defense stat, along with iron defense and body press, it's pretty cool. It has a really cool new ability in Eartheater. Personally, I think Eartheater is really cool. I think it's one of those abilities that is probably never going to really see too much usage outside of for any sort of like really competitive use, but I do think it's a really fun ability to see. So basically, you are healing yourself when hit by a ground move rather than taking damage. And being a Steel type, that is very, very promising for you because, hey, there goes one of my weaknesses and now I'm just healing off of it, which is a really cool way to get around certain restricted. Now you don't have to worry about the ground types while setting up Orthworm. The other thing for it is the Shedtail. Shedtail is a really cool new move introduced in Generation 9, and you're basically going to set up a substitute by taking half of your health this time, and you're going to allow yourself to switch out and give whatever comes in that substitute, which is really, really cool when it comes to making maybe position-based games, and especially on Orthworm since it's so slow. If you can survive things, get the Shedtail up, and then get into another Pokemon, you have a full health substitute in front of that other Pokemon, whether you want it to be something that can set up with a Dragon Dance, a Quiver Dance, or the like. It gives you options. Now, obviously, it's not the easiest things to do since you are so slow and you have no special defense stat, basically. But it is a really cool move, and that is kind of the advantage of using Shedtail on Orthworm rather than Cyclizar. Because Cyclizar, you're going first, and they're just going to hit the substitute after you switch in, and it's going to break. But if you can manage to get it off with Orthworm, I feel like there's a little bit more potential to set up in the future turns with what you bring in. Anyways, we're going to jump straight into set 1. Absolutely nothing crazy going on here. Both these sets are going to be body press iron defense. There's nothing crazy. Probably leftovers on both. You want to get as much recovery as you can because Eartheater is not reliable as a recovery. I mean, you can sit there and spam Earthquake beside it if you wanted to, but that only lasts so long, right? And that's what really hurts Orthworm here. I feel like if you had recovery, I think it actually has potential. Instead of just a very niche role in itself right now. Heavy Slam, you can argue that Shedtail is better and just run mono body press as your only attack, but the problem is right now the meta is very ghost type heavy. You've got your Annihilapes, you've got your Saraledges, I've even seen some Dragapult, you've got your Skeleturges, you've got a bunch of ghost types is what I'm saying, so having mono body press didn't feel right, but you can easily go Shedtail here instead. I think it's a cool concept. I like Protect, personally. I think Protect on leftovers, with leftovers is one of the best ways to get HP back on a set like this since you don't have anything like Recover. And then of course your classic body press iron defense. This spread really doesn't do much. You probably don't get a whole lot. I was just looking for something that I can put into defense just to justify having a little bit of defense stat. This 76 is going to pick up no bulk Garchomp at a +2 body press with 2 body presses, so 2 + 2 body presses are going to take out a Garchomp guaranteed. With this set, it's probably not relevant. You probably get a whole lot more value out of set 2. And that's just dumping it all into special defense, dumping it all into HP. And just saying, you know what, the physical attacks don't bother me. I have such a high defense stat anyways. I have iron defense as well to hinder those off as well. Just make sure you bulk up your weaker stats, and I think you get a lot more value out of set 2. This one I do have Shedtail. Same concept still applies. Shedtail or Heavy Slam, whatever you really feel is best fit for your team. I think Shedtail is cool. I think it should be tested, but I do think Heavy Slam is probably more consistent. Once again, Protect. I just like having Protect beside leftovers. I mean, outside of that, you can opt for something like Coil. I don't like Coil. I don't think Coil is very good. I think just iron defense gets you to what you want to do a little bit faster, so it makes a little bit more sense in my opinion. It's not like I need the accuracy or the attack boost really if I'm just going to click body press, right? So ID makes a little bit more sense. Other than that, I mean, if you want to be fun, I guess you can click Rock Slide 6 million times. Terra type, I probably wouldn't change it. Steel is one of the best defensive typings in the game, and I see really no reason to change from a steel type as long as you have Eartheater. Like, it really makes no sense to me to change. I mean, what am I going to change into? I could see, depending on what you want to do, maybe switch into something like a fire or a water type. Probably water, since it's more defensive, but I guess if you want to do fire, it's not terrible either. I mean, it's basically, you would Terra into something in a late game that they wouldn't preserve that piece for. So the explanation here is basically, I'm a steel type, so what are they going to save? They're going to save their fire types, not their ground types, because they'll know about Ether. But let's say they're going to save their fire type for a steel type, for their steel types. Well, then I'm going to Terra into water type, and now I'm going to resist that fire type that you've saved, and in the end game I have a chance of winning. That would be the only reason I would switch Terra types. Switch to a Terra type that's going to cover the Pokemon that they're going to save to beat this thing, right? So generally speaking, like something like Scarlet, well, against the Scarlet, I'm going to want to bring in, I mean, you're going to lose anyways. It's going to get the torch songs up. You can't kill it. But besides the point, you know, Scarlet was a terrible example. But something like a fire type that they bring in the end game, right? You Terra water, all of a sudden they can't hit you as best as they thought they could, and then you just win the end game there, right? So that would be the only reason to Terra. I personally wouldn't go for that. I would say just stick with steel. It's probably your best. But other than that, this thing is body depress, iron defense machine. That's what it's here for. The stats don't say anything otherwise. And with that, I'm not going to ramble about Orthworm for too much longer. Once again, I want to keep these guides quick. If you guys do enjoy these guides, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It does help up the channel. Also, if you ever have any suggestions about what you want to see next in these guides on the channel, feel free to leave a comment. But with that, I am going to stop rambling now, and I will catch you all in a future video.